Now we will move to Mr. Dennis. Mr. Dennis is the presiding officer of the African Union ECOSOC. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Dennis, African Union ECOSOC is the mechanism of civil society organization. From your point of view, what is the role of the African Union ECOSOC in achieving or fostering migrants' rights, and how can ECOSOC foster this situation of the migrants in Africa in the future? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Abdel Rahman. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Good afternoon, good morning. Let me first introduce myself again. My name is Denise Kodhe. I'm the presiding officer of the African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, which is one of the leading organs of the African Union. I will talk about what ECOSOC is doing, as I continue with my presentation. And I believe my colleague, who is in charge of North, who is the presiding officer in charge of North, Mr. Khalid, is also on board, or he is going to join us. Now, I first want to thank Mr. Ray Sulo of IOM for the update, giving us an overview of what is going on with migrants. And I think this is very important for us, people who are not at the scene or who just read what's going on. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, thank you. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizer and moderator, Abdurrahman Pasha, and others who have organized this. I think it's very important that we talk about issues that are affecting us. And it is not only this forum that we are now talking about issues that are affecting Africa and the neighbors, but we also at the continental level beginning to talk about issues. We will not be able to sort our problems or to talk about issues affecting us if we don't, confront them. Confronting them doesn't mean that we are fighting, but it means that we discuss and try to understand what is it that we need to do to improve on our situations. I'm glad to report to you that also at the continental level, we are now beginning to talk about the unconstitutional change of government. I'm sure you must have heard a lot of military coups beginning to happen in quite a number of African countries, and this is a big concern to us. And I'm saying this because it is important for us as the people of Africa, as citizens of the world, to sit down and discuss about issues that are affecting us. We can't sit and wait for others to come sort them out for us. Now, responding to the question that you've asked, and I think it is important to understand the role of the African Union. Now, ECOSOC, like the United Nations ECOSOC, is the African Union ECOSOC, which is mandated, is a technical organ mandated to coordinate the participation and the involvement of the civil society organization. And when we talk about non-state actors, then this brings in the media, brings in the NGO, the civil society, the professional organization, the interfaith organizations, and all the players that are not government related. Now, it is very critical that the leadership of Africa brought this initiative. And I think what they were looking at is how to connect with the citizen. Of course, leadership makes very good policies and decisions at the level. But if this does not trim down the ordinary citizen, then it doesn't make any sense. So our role as an organ, presiding officer in French is president. So that should not confuse the audience and my brothers and my colleagues who are on this forum. So I'm the political head of the organ, and the organ has got regional deputy presiding officer, where my brother Khalid Bodali is in charge of the North. I have my colleague in charge of South, other colleagues in charge of Central Africa, West Africa, and East Africa. Now, since I come from East Africa, then we don't have the deputy presiding officer. Now, our role, our mandate is to coordinate. We have a secretariat which is placed in Lusaka, Zambia for a long time. We used to operate from Addis Ababa, but we thank the government of Zambia for accepting to host us. so that we have a secretariat. As a secretariat, we established in the world. We are coordinating quite a number of activities. And very soon, I think at the end of the year, we will be having a meeting in Morocco just to look at the migration issues and the free movement aspects regarding the people of Africa and to other places where they go. So we are quite involved in quite a number of issues. I'll be traveling to Zambia the day after tomorrow to have a conference on constitutional change of governments in Africa, where we brought quite a number of civil society representatives from different parts of the continent, and also parts of the world as experts to begin to discuss issues that are really affecting us. What is it that is going on? What is it that we need to do? And what is it that we should look at in terms of finding a permanent solution? And now that brings me to this very important discussion that we must, as a people, as a continent, as Middle East, we must begin to talk about our issues and we must confront them. These are our issues. We know the causes, we know the challenges, we know the problems. So we have solutions to them. And therefore, it's very important for us to begin to organize forums like this where we engage, we listen to each other, we listen from experts, and also we analyze issues that we think are making the continent of the world not peaceful. And then we can discuss these kind of issues. Now, what is the role of ECOSOCC or the African Union in migration? As I've briefly explained, we are the coordinating bed or coordinating aspect of the civil society. And nothing much can happen without the involvement of the civil society. So therefore, the question we need to be asking, what is the role of civil society? What is the role of non-state actors in supporting and in also looking at human rights issues that are affecting migrants and other citizens of Africa and also Middle East and elsewhere? I think it's important for us, the civil society, to play a very critical role. One of sensitizing the population. The second one is educating the population and also guiding the leadership. Since we are connected to the citizens, we know what is affecting our people. We know what the issues are. And therefore, it's very important for us to engage at all levels. And sometimes when there's a gap where you miss the role or the involvement of civil society, then you find there's a lot that is going on, which is not intercepted and which is not communicated. And therefore, our role as civil society is very critical. And this is why ECOSOCC was created. We have so many civil society in Africa, and they are doing different in various sectors of development. And therefore, if we bring out our input in a strong way, then it becomes very critical in the way the policies are formulated. Our two roles at the continental level is about providing advisory opinion to the leadership of the continent in terms of policy formulation. The second one is also popularizing and articulating various activities that have already been put in place by the leadership of the African continent. And I say this, and I've mentioned this in quite a number of forums, that our problems will not be solved by the leaders. Our problem will be solved by all of us. Each of us have a role to play, like we're doing this forum. We have different people talking about different experiences and bringing on board different information angles that we need to look at. This is very critical. But when we sit back and we wait for the leaders, and the leaders in many cases are the source of some of these problems, then there will be no solution. And therefore, it is important for us as the people of Africa, the people of Middle East, as the people of the world, to sit down and begin to question some of these issues that are going on and involve the leaders so that we find solutions to them. That is very critical for us. So at the content level, those are the two technical major functions that we are doing. But besides that, we are also coordinating the participation of non-state actors, the civil society and the other groups that I talked about, so that we always, and we tend, or we try to get views and opinions from various corners of the continent. Colleagues, I'm happy to report to you that as the presiding officer, I'm seeing a very big change in terms of our leaders now beginning to recognize the role that's played by the civil society. And I'm also seeing a very good trend where civil societies are coming out strongly, like the case of this forum that we're having now, to speak about issues and to try to reach out, authorities in terms of how best can we sort out these issues. So basically about the ECOSOCC is, in a nutshell, is the umbrella body for the civil society organizations and non-state actors in the continent. Then two, coordinating those aspects, those roles that we are playing from different countries to ensure that we help our leaders in formulating good policies. And we also popularize and promote the various initiatives that they are put in place. Now, talking about the subject matter today, which is migrants in the Middle East and Africa, it's a crisis. And I think when we talk about respect to human rights, people don't migrate because they want to migrate. People migrate, as my brother Abdulraham said already, for various reasons and challenges. And therefore, it is important to understand this. I think it is important for us, as the other communities or as the world at large, to understand that people are forced in situations of moving because of the challenges they face. Now, some of those challenges are natural disasters. We have conflicts, like from Africa, you know, the civil wars that we have, and also bad governance. And this is when I talked about unconstitutional means of taking power. It's because of bad governance practices that are still being practiced by certain leaders in Africa and also across the world. It is very important to understand this. And once we understand this, the economic hardships which comes with natural disasters like the COVID-19, nobody wants to move. The whole world has been hit. And therefore, it is important for us to have a very soft heart for migrants, for people who are moving to seek, you know, comfortable opportunities where they can probably lead a good life, or where they move to seek safety. It's unfortunate that we see some countries responding very negatively towards this, and this should not be the case, because, you know, migrants can start from any country. Nobody knew that Russia and the neighboring country Ukraine will go to war, and nobody knows what happens today even in Africa or in different parts of the world. And therefore, it is important for us as humans to think about others. How do we respect? How do we treat them? How do we help them in situations where they find that they're in situations where they cannot help themselves? Therefore, migrants' rights must be respected as per the United Nations Charter. I think it's not just about United Nations, but it's about all of us, you know, to see how we can support our brothers, we can support our sisters, and how we can live in peace and harmony. Now, what is the role of African Commission for Human Rights and People's Rights? I think the African Union at the leadership level is very concerned and focused on this. Of course, there are challenges that goes with that. But I think when I sit down in our forums where we organize and sometimes have meetings with our leaders, there's a very serious concerns, especially the abuse of human rights. And this is something that we must look and we must speak of with a lot of confidence. We must criticize where necessary, and we must insist that migrants must be respected. Their rights must be respected. They need to be helped and they need to be supported, because it is not their wish to move from their comfort zones to unknown destinations. I think they are running to seek shelter. And if you look at the African proverb, if somebody is running to your home seeking help, you don't chase him away, chase away, but you try to find a way of accommodating, helping, you know, that particular person. This should be the spirit that we need to embrace. This is the spirit that the whole world should look at, without looking for excuses that these people are coming to do this in our country. Nobody wants to go and live in places where they're not comfortable. But in terms of challenges, in terms of threats, we find ourselves in very uncomfortable and very unfamiliar territories, simply to try to see how we can, you know, be helped. Now, as I conclude, the role of civil society is very critical in this. And without us, you know, all of us together, whether you're in the Middle East, you're in Africa, you're in other developed countries, civil society has to come out very strongly and has to play its role very critically, because we have the voice and also we have the power sometimes to force our leaders to think the direction that we want them to think towards. So let us not lose this grip. Let us not be compromised. Let us not feel like, you know, we are handicapped, because we are not. We have a voice. We are the voice of the voiceless. And this is very important, because leaders recognize that voice of the voiceless. Without a voice for the voiceless, then we continue, our people will continue to suffer and have a lot of challenges that we are going through as a society. Therefore, it is very critical for us as a civil society, and I emphasize much on this, because without us, then a lot of things will go wrong. We need to sensitize, we need to consolidate policy formulations by providing what we need to do. We need to create awareness and we also need to criticize. As I conclude, when I visit different countries, I say this, that as much as the leadership sees the civil society organizations as critics of government, that is one of our major roles. But we are also partners in terms of development, because without us, there's nothing much they can achieve. So we must understand the role of the civil society. There's that aspect of criticizing and criticizing positive, but there's also that aspect of partnering with government, partnering with organizations to see how best we can improve on the lives of our people. The other questions I will answer as we go by, but I thought I would just, it's important for me to highlight this so that the audience can find themselves in a position to interrogate me further or to try to go more in terms of what ECOSOCC is doing and what the African Union is doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, and I feel the enthusiasm in your speech. I'm very impressed. You tackled the point of what is the African Union ECOSOCC is doing, what's the mandate of African Union ECOSOCC. You also, I thank you for saying that confronting the issue of migrants doesn't mean fighting, but it is just discussing the issue, and this is very, very important for us. You also tackled the point of the role of the African Union ECOSOCC in immigration, and how you can, as a civil society, work on the issue of migration. And I also thank you to say that the migrants does not move because they want to move, but they face a lot of challenges, force them to go out of their countries. And I think this is the base that we should put in our minds when we work on migration. You also say that civil society have the voice and the power to change. That we are the voice of the voiceless. And thank you very much for your speech. Please stay with us if there is any question at the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.